how to use your self-defense cane. This is a Cane Master self-defense cane. It can be any self-defense cane, any walking cane that you have. There are some very basic, simple things that you can do to stop an attack. The first thing, with it in the back hand, imagine the person's coming in, they're getting too close to you. You can simply lift it up, snatching up between his legs or up under his chin or just in the middle of his body, putting the cane between you and the attack. I want you to stop the attack. This is how to use your self-defense cane. After you do this motion, if he continues to come in, continues to try to hurt you, try to stab you, punch you, choke you, try to take away your freedom, your dignity, your life, or hurt somebody with you, you can turn your hand over from this motion and bring it down very quickly, almost like you're slapping the top of his head. So your hand comes up, your palm turns up facing the sky, you bring your hand back to your head, and then you pull down with a lot of force. And that force creates a lot of speed, striking him on the top of the head. You want to remove his ability to use something like this against you, right? He might have one of these. You have had your right to carry this taken away from you, or you don't want to carry one of these, you're not comfortable with one of these, or you just don't want to be in a knife fight with somebody. He can have this. You're going to have a reach advantage. Your cane, which is generally about 36 inches long, is a lot longer, so you have a reach advantage. You're going to be able to stop him before he can use this against you. So I want you to stop the attack, no matter what it is, whether it's a punch, a choke, a grab, someone trying to strike you with an open hand, or someone trying to use some type of a weapon against you. Maybe it's a baseball bat or an expandable baton, one of these thugs carrying those things around. Good to see you, Alita. Alita's here, Doug's here. So the first motion, think about it having it in, it can be the back hand or it can be the front hand. It's just very explosive, very fast. It's very surprising, which is how you can stop the attack with it. Bringing it up and then turning your hand down. The second thing I want you to practice is putting it in the other hand and doing it the same way. So from the very beginning of your training on how to stop an attack, how to use your self-defense cane, walking cane, you're gonna practice from one hand to the other side, going faster and faster. And right here at the beginning of this video, I want you to see, during the beginning of our training together, that if you need your cane to defend yourself with and to walk at the same time, so if you picked it up, you would fall to the ground. So you're not able to use it for self-defense. You can carry two. One here that you would lean on, and the other one that you could bring up and then strike down to stop him. So you can practice, if you have two canes, you can practice doing one side and then the other side. Maybe your body doesn't work that well on one side, and so you just focus on the side that you're able to defend yourself with. All these techniques also work if you're sitting in a wheelchair, or maybe you're sitting waiting for the bus, you're sitting on the train, you're sitting on a plane. You can do just about everything that we're gonna practice in this training on how to stop an attack using your self-defense walking cane. David's here from England. David says, needs a solid walking stick. How do you get one? David, let me show you real quick. One of my favorite walking sticks, this actually comes from County Wicklow, a town called Shillelagh in Ireland. You can order it. I would imagine you can get it. I've seen these in Scotland. I know that they're this is briarwood. They're hardwood walking sticks, quality walking sticks that you could use in the exact same way that you would use your walking cane for self-defense. You can use with an Irish shillelagh, so you can use just about any of them. Gary says, my videos are terrific. Thank you, Gary, really appreciate that. Another thing you can do, David, if you are in Great Britain, somewhere in England, you can carry a really nice, sturdy umbrella. And I work in overnight in a gatehouse sometime, and they have an umbrella that they use to go out and check IDs. When I worked down at the church school, the church has these very nice unbreakable umbrellas that they use every Sunday when it rains. It rains a lot down here in South Florida, and they've got buckets of them. And they're all 36 inches, and I've made some videos here on this channel. You can find how to use an umbrella, and it's almost all the same techniques that you would use with a walking stick or a walking cane, you can use with your umbrella and defend yourself effectively. Yeah. Oh, I think I said briar. Yeah, blackthorn. Doug would know. Doug sent me these. These are blackthorn. And yeah, I misspoke. I said, I think briar or something, but they are blackthorn. Oh, Gary's in the UK and has 2 cane masters. He also lives in the UK. So, David, you can get cane masters. Go to that first or second link, one of the links in the description. And then I know that they find ways to send these to you over in the UK. All right, so the next thing that I want you to do from this to the backhand is just come across and back. Just think about swinging. When you practice with a self-defense cane, your hand closes, and at the very beginning, we're gonna do this turning. And this turning, or spinning, cane spinning, we call it combat cane spinning. Some people call it, I don't know what they call it. Combat cane spinning, I think is what I was thinking of. I just call it spinning your cane. But when you do that, you keep your hand mostly closed. You're not squeezing it so much that it won't move, obviously, but your hand's not open so it doesn't come flying out. And you're just pulling and pushing like you're starting an old car. And then you can bring it across the body and back. And this is gonna start to develop callus on your hands. It's gonna start to teach you timing and distance, teach your body timing and distance, spatial awareness, proprioception, how it feels in your hand. And then it's gonna allow you, when you do these motions, swinging hard and fast to defend yourself. He's coming at you with a knife. You're gonna take away his ability to use that knife by swinging this hard piece of wood, whether yours is oak or hickory, maybe even have one of those polymer canes or those plastic canes, or even metal. You can do a lot of damage for self-defense. You can stop the attack using your self-defense walking cane simply by bringing it over and back. And then you can also bring it down like the first set of motions we did. 1, 2, 3 down on top. And then again, I want you to switch feet right away and practice. This is what you do in practice. If it happens for real, you don't have time to warm up. But if you've done this enough in practice, whether you're here in the garage with me, or you're at the dojo, or you're in your backyard, you're in the hallway, wherever you train, if you train enough, just a little bit every day, then it becomes easier for you to move faster and swing harder for self-defense. No matter what your age is, no matter where you start, no matter what your physical limitations really are, you can be a senior citizen, you can be older, you can be an older adult, you can be a wounded veteran, you can be someone who's born with a palsy, and you're still gonna get better a little bit at a time, a little bit over and over. All right, David says, yeah, thanks, like Theodore Roosevelt said, speak softly, carry a big stick. Bill, good morning. Bill's in Las Vegas. Sandra says, thanks for the great information for us disabled people. It's my pleasure. Doug says, listening while he's driving on beautiful Vancouver Island. Absolutely gorgeous up in Vancouver. Doug, thank you so much for that generous gift, that chat, super chat. Doug sent me a lot of gifts over the years. I really appreciate Doug. This is Doug's shillelagh, or as my Irish father-in-law said to me, it's actually pronounced shillelagh. This is made in County Wicklow, which is where my wife's aunt lives. So they live in Wicklow, and they visit Shillelagh all the time. It's a town in their neighborhood, their neck of the woods, and they all pronounce it shillelagh. But this is made by one of the original shillelagh makers. If you want one of these, wherever you live in the world, the guy will make it and send it to you. So you can find his information just by searching on the net, on Google, shillelagh Wicklow or shillelagh Ireland, and then it's easy to find. All right, so we talked about bringing it up, smashing the top of his head, bring it across, bring it back, bring it down on top. You've got to apply these techniques with the principles of self-defense that come from Tim Larkin's book, When Violence is the Answer. That's also a link in the description. If you haven't read that book, highly recommend it. That is the starting point of all martial arts, in my opinion. I don't care what your techniques are. You can be a boxer, you can be Jeet Kune Do, you can be Kung Fu, you can be Taekwondo, Hapkido, Karate Do, Aikido, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. None of that is, or Krav Maga. Let's throw that in there. Krav Maga. Let's throw in, I was thinking Shidam. Shidam's like the wrestling from Korea. I don't know why that popped in my head. I was thinking of the big guys from Russia that do. I think the Bondo guys, the crazy Vietnam vets here in the States, We do the Bondo, some of you guys know what I'm talking about. FMA, Filipino martial arts. What am I thinking about? Sistema. You could be doing Sistema or Krav Maga, one that's more focused on fighting and self-defense. But if you don't have the principles of self-defense, none of those techniques matter. You've got to learn the techniques or the principles of self-defense and apply them with the techniques. Principles are things like situational awareness. Pay attention. Don't be a victim. If you see it coming, get out of there, right? Don't walk into a bad area if you can avoid it. That's situational awareness. Don't stare at your phone in the middle of the worst neighborhood or the worst, most violent ridden subway system in America. Don't be sitting there staring at your phone when the thugs are coming by, cracking people in the head and taking their cell phones. Put it in your bag, put it in your pocket, turn it off because they want it when it's open, and pay attention. If you have to look at it, put your back up against the wall, hold it up so that you don't lose your peripheral vision. You can see them coming and do something about it. That's number one, situational awareness. Number two, get in a better position. I like to have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I like to have the cane between me and the threat. Number three, ask yourself, what can you remove or destroy? His ability to breathe temporarily, his ability to breathe permanently, his ability to see, his ability to hear, or to have his inner ear. You pop his eardrums, you crack him in his ear, he might lose his inner ear, which causes vertigo, and then he can't stand up. Maybe that's a strike to the side of his neck where there's a process of nerves which sends a signal to the brain to flush the blood out. So if the blood comes out, he falls to the ground like a sack of crap that he is, and let the cops come and scoop him up. Maybe it's the side of his head with a strike for self-defense. But what can you remove or destroy? His knees, his arms. He's reaching out with that knife. He's trying to slash or stab. Maybe you break that arm. Smash his other arm. Stick that in his face. Smash that through his face. Box his ears. Bring that down over the top. Lift him up off the ground. Stick this hook right between his legs and pick him up for self-defense. Maybe that's how you do it. But you start with, what can you remove or destroy? And that's in Tim Larkin's book, When Violence is the Answer, which is in the description. And I know a lot of you have read that book, and you understand very clearly what we're talking about when we start to talk about that. Doug says, I gotta crack my thumb there. Doug says he's developed some good calluses on the inside of his hands, making the spinning faster. That's the truth. When you get really good calluses, one of the things as we age that's a sign of not moving as much, in my opinion, is when we get soft hands and our skin gets thin because we're getting older and everybody's taking too much aspirin for their heart and blood thinners and everything else. And then we sort of just let it all compound and then we give up. So I want to fight against that. And spinning is one good way you can reconnect with your vitality, your energy, your fitness, and your callus on your hand. And again, you just spin like this, bring it over and back. When you're ready, throw it into the other hand. And as Doug says, you start to speed it up. Feel that heat in your hand. Feel the skin getting thicker. All that helps you when you need it to slide the hand and get it into that position so that when you do strike, your strikes are hard and fast and you can defend yourself. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, hello Jacob, good to see you. Mayuresh has some weird, I don't know what he's talking about. I was saying earlier, if you guys were here, that all the kids are going back to school. Here in the States anyway, we have a big holiday on Monday, and a lot of the kids are still home from the holiday, from the school break. And so we get a little bit more funny comments in the comment section. All right, and then the chat. So from here, leaning on one, I want you to slide down the other one, and pick it up and put it between you and the thread. Then practice doing it on the other side if you have two. I wanted you to see that if you need one to walk with or lean on, you can practice all these techniques. And that you can be very effective fighting with just simply one hand. Mayuresh asked us to give a dare because he's a kid. I'm just going to say right now, Mayuresh, this isn't for kids. So go watch another channel. So we'll release you from this channel. You can go consume something else. Unless you want to stay here and learn some wisdom and learn how to be more mature and act like an adult. So from here, your other hand is going to come up. I want this hand up so that you can stop someone from coming in punching, slapping, choking, stabbing. Even if he's slashing at you, you can put your helmet on, it's gonna hit the back of your arm instead of the inside. You can also drive that elbow into his face for self-defense. So from here, your hand is up, you're gonna slide the other hand down, you're gonna just point your thumb at the threat. So from here, to get into this position, to stop an attack, put the cane between you and him. If he continues to come in, you can thrust, just like you would do if you were fencing. You would slide your sword right through the center line of his body, right into his face. Now, the reason you do that is you don't want him to come forward anymore. He has to respond to your stick. So he's either gonna dodge or it's gonna back him up. From here, you're gonna pull it into your shoulder, which sets you up for this first angular strike. And the angle comes through the center line of your body from your shoulder to your hip, not from out here in space. If your arm is too wide and he's coming in, you're gonna wrap your arm around him, you'll never hit him. If it's coming off your shoulder, you're going to strike him or he's gonna run into your stick, which is what you want. Let's stop the attack. How to use your self-defense walking cane. Hand up, bend the knees, put your helmet on if you need to. Thrust, angle down, turn your hand, angle up, bring it across, bring it back, bring it down on top, and I want you to switch your feet. So from here, bend the knees. Notice that when you're lowering your stance, when you're changing levels, all you're doing is bending your knees. You're never bending at the waist. If you bend at the waist, you become top heavy, and it's harder to keep you from falling over, especially as we get older. But if you bend your knees, even if it's just a tiny bit, you're gonna get lower than his center of gravity. Then when you push this and you turn, staying lower than his center of gravity, you're gonna be able to move him back, and he's gonna be on his heels. You put somebody on their heels, the next thing is they're on their bum, right? So from here, thrusting, coming in, if he continues to come in, slashing through, 2, from the hip up, from the other hip, across. These horizontal strikes can be done at the head, into the ribs, into the waist, down into the knees, at any level. And then finishing through the center line of your body, and his body, coming through with this vertical strike, thinking about knocking him out for self-defense. He's got a knife or a weapon, he's gonna take your life, and you knock him out, he can no longer use it. That's the basic principle. So we switch back to the other side, bend, lift, thrust, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Switch, bend, bring it up, turning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each time you go a little bit faster, putting stress on your body to increase your speed and the power in your strikes. One more time so you can write it down if you haven't already. If you already know it, you can practice it. It's a thrust, 2 angles down, 2 angles up, coming through, coming back, down on top. Now you might not do it in exactly that same pattern if someone's attacking you, because you're gonna ask the question, what can you remove or destroy? It's gonna be a different answer depending on the situation. And maybe you're sitting on the bus stop, right? Sitting on a chair, not on a chair, I'd sit. You can do these motions from here. And from here, he might come in, you might wanna go down to his leg first. You might wanna go with a thrusting motion up into his jaw. You might wanna put your other hand there, reach forward as he's coming on top of you. You put it here and you rip everything up and back. This is a very strong motion for you. It's almost like pulling yourself up. But that crook, that might get stuck under his chin, rip his jaw out of his face, or up into his groin and rip his manhood away for self-defense. It's not much of a man anyway. If he's a punk going around trying to hurt people, trying to take from them the dignity of their life, their freedom, trying to hurt the children, hurt your grandchildren, you're gonna defend them with these simple strikes. Now the next set of strikes I want you to do, you're gonna start with the crook facing out. These are all things to practice when you wanna learn how to stop the attack using your self-defense cane. Like a cane master's self-defense cane. Cane masters are, they're different styles, right? These are 2, these represent, you grab a third, show you kind of all 3 basic levels. So this is the most basic self-defense cane from Cane Masters. This is the dojo training cane. I'm gonna call this the garage training cane because this is the one I train with in the garage the most. I love this cane. This one I've had for a couple years now, and I've hit multiple things with it, and knives and stuff. I used to show people how to, I'd show them I'd rather have you cut the stick than my arm, my skin. And so every time you do that, if you do get like nicks in it or dents in it from hitting it against stuff, then just take your sandpaper and sand it out. But this is the most inexpensive. You can go to the link, see what these are. This one, a little bit more expensive, over $100, has all these cool features. The nice thing about having them put this, what they call the teardrop shape, or the dull sword blade is what I call it, is that that's going to compress the flesh faster and break bones easier. This one, and these three are all oak. I prefer hickory on most of my weapons, but oak is extremely strong, especially white oak. Red oak, I find, breaks easier than white oak, but maybe I just haven't found a good red oak example. Most of the red oak now comes from Asia or, Asia, like the mountains, areas like that. Get it in China, get it in Afghanistan, Persia, or not Persia, Pakistan. But these white oak, these are extremely durable, extremely strong. And then this one is their top of the line master line. I don't use this one much. It's a fancy one. Someone got this in an auction and then gave it to me. They just wanted to support the cause that we were raising the funds for. But this one has the palm rest on it, which I do like to show. This is a great feature. It makes ergonomically, it makes it a little bit easier to use, but also using that for self-defense, that becomes just another striking surface to defend yourself with very effectively. And all these different features, with the exception of the little eyeballs, I think that just makes it cool looking, right? All the features have a real function. So you dig in that into the jaw, you can pull his jaw, you can dig that into his ear, you can rip his ear off, you can rip his nose straight off his face, his teeth out of his mouth for self-defense. They're all very effective. All right, Doug says, as you know, if the person has time to take off the boot, the cane really penetrates. Right, yeah, so if you can take off the tip of it, you're gonna hit them a lot harder. This is nice just because you can put it on your thumb and then you hold it like a police baton, so that if he's, when you're using it, if you lose your grip, you still have it and you can bring it back in. And you put it on your thumb that way so you don't rip your thumb off in case he does pull it out of your hand. But I don't want you to let him pull it out of your hand. We can go over how to keep him from doing that. So turning the cane out in this tutorial, this workout that you're doing with me right now, how to stop the attack, how to defend yourself using your walking cane for self-defense or your cane master self-defense cane. Starting with the crook out makes it ergonomically easier on your hand. So when you turn it this way, the way that your wrist bends with that crook and having it in front of your thumb, that's not really the best way to carry a walking cane like this, either derby style or the crook style. If you were to turn it out and have it facing the front with the long side coming out of your pinky, because the way your arm is made, the way your arm locks out, this one is a lot easier on your arm and on your body. So you might want to adopt carrying it like this anyway. From here, you can bring it up, strike across, and bring it across, down, just like we did at the beginning. You can also just pop it up into this hand with two hands forward, and you're telling him, back up, you're too close, get away from me. Good afternoon, G. Carlton, good to see you. They don't get away from you, they keep coming, they're closing the distance. You've given a verbal command, you had your hand open so that everybody who's videotaping, and then they take it to court and they pull all those videos out and they use them, they subpoena them, and then they're showing everybody in the court, the jury, the judge, look, this guy, he's got that self-defense cane, he's the bad guy, that criminal who's been in jail 38 times, and he's had violent assaults against 22 different people, and the judge keeps like, he's the victim, that bad old man with the cane, that old lady with the cane, they're really the aggressor, the woman who never hurt a fly in her whole life but was fed up because she couldn't walk to the grocery store without being accosted by a criminal who should be incarcerated. I'm just painting a picture. When that happens and all the video is shown and you're standing like this with your hands open and you're saying, get out of my face, back, don't come any closer, I will defend myself. This is the international sign of stop. This is fighting. You weren't fighting, you were trying to stop. He comes in, you can thrust, coming straight forward, just like a jab or a punch to his face with this big knuckle, this big fist, coming right to his face. From here, I want you to practice bringing this up like you're answering your phone. Bring your hand to your ear. That takes the length of the stick and smashes him up under his chin. Maybe he's reaching with a punch or choke or grab. Maybe he's trying to slap you or slash you with the knife or stab, and then you're gonna crack and break the bones in his hand as you bring that up. That gets it into your front hand where you're gonna step and thrust through the middle of his face for self-defense and get him out of there, back him up, and then bringing the backhand forward, chopping down with that big old tooth, that beveled edge that then gets stuck somewhere in his nose right before you rip it off. And it goes flopping onto the ground. You get all that good DNA evidence so the police officers can finally get the guy that they already knew he was the bad guy. He's walking around. They roll him up trying to do the best they can. They put him in front of a prosecutor who doesn't even want to charge him. He goes to a judge who's going to give him no cash bail and sit him back on the street, but he's not going to have his nose. So maybe you did the rest of the public, the rest of us community service, by marking him up a little bit as the thug, the criminal, the punk that he is, and get him off the streets. Anyway, it was just some fantasy there. Dim Mock says, got me buying cold steel canes, only 40. Yeah, Dim Mock, that's a great point, because you can use a cane no matter what your age is, and no one's allowed to ask you to prove it. Not here in the United States anyway. We have the HIPAA laws, the Health Information Privacy Act or something like that, or Portability and Privacy Act. And then we have the Americans with Disabilities Act, which say that you can bring your cane with you on the plane, in the courthouse, to the concert, to your kid's school, into the library, all the places you see those no guns allowed sign. There's nothing that says, and then you go through the metal detector, and then they want to do the wand and pat down because you got a metal hip like I do, and you're always setting it off. And then they'll take anything, any pocket knife, any little pair of clippers that clip your toenails, your fingernails, they'll take those away, but they're not touching your cane. They can't. You have the right to bring this, and this is the perfect, so it's the perfect, to Dim Mock's point, he was saying he's only 40, but he carries the cane because it's a great self-defense option. If you're in Great Britain, I saw today, they're taking away they're giving you so many months or weeks or something to turn in your machetes, turn in your ghost knives, because they've already banned all the other stuff. You know, in Canada, which is just, contingent to the United States, just to the north, they're not allowed to have a knife that can be opened with one hand. This is illegal in Canada, which is mind-boggling, because I use this daily. Every single day, I open something with my utility tool. And that's why I carry this more than anything else, because it's very effective utility. I also carry it for self-defense, but you can't carry this most places. You certainly can't carry one of these most places in the world. You can here in the United States, but not everybody does, and not everybody wants to, and not everybody's allowed to. But you can all carry one of these. That's why it's the perfect self-defense tool for any age, disabled or not disabled. It is a mobility tool. Maybe your knee just hurts that day. Today my knee hurts and both hips are tight. This one hurts so much I can't sleep at night. That's why I'm always tired these days. That and I'm working overnight. When I took that overnight job, I said, the concern was, well, I'm not gonna get any sleep. I'm like, I'm not sleeping now until I can get this hip replaced. It just burns all night and wakes me up. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you that if someone were to ask me, or say, oh, you're a big guy, you look healthy and fit. I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know what's going on in my body. And that could be you too. Carry the cane, it's nobody's business. But if they needed a reason, we probably could all find a good reason that a cane might be a good option today. Anyway, so from here, you pop it up, or you can simply slide your hand down like we did the last time. You get it up between you and the threat. I want you to practice jab, answer your phone. That's fast and hard, smashing under his chin, thrust through his face, chop into his head, pull down, and then if you want, push back, smashing him out of there, getting him out of your face for self-defense. Put it in your other hand, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, the other hand up, give the verbal command. You're too close, get away from me, back up, don't touch me, help, smash, lift, thrust, chop, pull, push, right? And then other hand, you start to go a little bit faster, start to do it more explosively, and then you go from side to side. And if you want, you can start to move around and do it in different angles and turn in different positions. You get the idea. So that you start to get your heart rate up and make it a little bit more realistic. Wesley asks, what if he kicks you? If you're holding in this position, first of all, we can do the what ifs all the time. What if he gets through your defenses and punches you in your face? Well, you're gonna get punched in the face. What if he breaks your nose and blood's running out of your nose and you got eyes watering? What if he cracks you in the back of the head? You weren't paying attention because you were on your phone, or you were not on your phone. He just happened to come around the corner so fast, he just caught you off guard. You know, he's a hardened criminal, he knows what he's doing. He cracks you in the back of the head and you're seeing stars and you're barely conscious because you're almost knocked out. What then? Fight. You have to keep fighting. You have to fight no matter what. If you're awake and you're able to, keep fighting. The fight's not over until you win. And we can do all the what ifs. If he kicks you, what if he kicks you in the groin? Kick him back. Smash him with your cane. What if he has his hands on your neck and he's choking you? Bring your cane up and over, grab with the other hand, pull straight down. So all of a sudden he's like this, and then smash that right through his face. What if he grabs you from behind and he starts to choke and pull you backward and you're losing your grip? Whip this up, turn your head to the side a little bit, and then hit whatever's back there a couple times, again and again. And then when you can, turn, let it slide through your hand like a pool cue, and then smash into him this way. Turn and face him, and then hit him with the thing. So you can do all the what ifs, and that's a good exercise. Practice the what ifs. What if he grabs me like this on my wrist? Smash him this way. What if he grabs this wrist over here? Bring it up and crack him on his arm or crack his head. What if he's got a knife and he already stabbed me 3 times? Well, don't let him stab you 38 more. You know, hit him in the head, try to bring it down on top and smash through his face and bring it down and bring it up and then reach in and rip something off, but keep fighting until the fight's over. The fight's not over until you win. Michael says, bro, you will be knocked out in no time. It's been a long time since I've been knocked out, Michael. Those were all kicks, by the way. I've never been punched in the face. I've been punched in the face many, many times. I've never been knocked out with in boxing. But old school Taekwondo, when it used to be real fighting, not the stuff they do at the Olympics now, then yeah, I've been knocked out. See, Hanuman Bhakt says, ex-martial artist, back to the comment about, bro, you'll be knocked out. You don't know, you're probably a kid. If you're not, then maybe you're inexperienced. Maybe you're an experienced street fighter. Maybe you fought Brock Lesnar last night and Jocko Willink, and they were walking out of the bar, and they only had water to drink. They weren't too toasty. And you got into an MMA fight, and Chuck Liddell was backing them up, and maybe you knocked all 3 of them out because you're just that tough. The point is, I don't think that happened, but if it did, you gotta keep fighting. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're 100 years old and someone's trying to steal your dignity, steal your life, trying to hurt you in a really disgusting way. God gave you the right for self-defense, not men, not Congresses, not presidents, not prime ministers, not houses of lords. None of those humans who might not have your best interest at heart gave you your right to self-defense. God did, and you can fight for that. And who cares what other people think? Practice yourself and then defend yourself. Yeah, Hanuman Bhakt says there's a French martial art, something called cane. Yes, it's excellent martial art. I've seen that a little bit. Or Good says, put me in a movie, that'd be fun. I think. I don't know if I want to do that or not. Doug says, as a former law enforcement officer, cane has many techniques, same as the side handle baton, the PR-24. I also carried that as a law enforcement officer, although not nearly as much experience as Doug. But yeah, I mean, it's just like the, what do we call those? The tonfa, the Japanese Okinawan tonfa. It is very effective. Hit somebody really hard. Yeah, Muad Asad says, top fear is getting stabbed. That is an excellent fear. You should fear getting stabbed. You You should fear getting slashed in the way that they take your life. You should fear getting slashed in the way that they have to do multiple stitches just to put you back together, and it takes 6 months for your body to heal from all the nasty infections that you might get and all of the muscle tissue and soft tissue if they don't end your life. So you should be afraid of that. And that's, one of the reasons I think if you're afraid of anything, you should take steps to mitigate it. Carrying a cane gives you reach advantage over that knife. The other alternative is to curl up in a ball under your bed and wait for the world to go back to being normal and sane, which is never going to happen. So learning how to defend yourself is my only option. Hamanon Box says the fool talking about KO has probably never been in a street fight. That's probably true. A lot of people think they know what it feels like to get hit until they get hit. And you realize two things. One, it's usually not as bad if you don't get knocked out, because you can get knocked out. That's true. One of the ways to not get knocked out is keep your chin down, tuck your chin. And the second way is don't run your mouth. Don't go looking for fights. You're gonna find somebody who can knock you out. That's gonna happen. But for the most of us, we're not gonna get knocked out. You might get your bell rung, and you might get, and what I want you to do is fight back and not fight back. That's the whole point. Roxanne, thank you so much for that super chat. Asks, what if he has an armament Agincourt with mounted between? You paid me for that question? That's funny. Roxanne gave me $8 to ask me a really fun question. I think that's along the lines of fighting Brock Lesnar, and so I get it. That's hilarious. I don't even know that I can read it all. All right, mounted 14 BL 12-inch MK X8. Was that 8 or 13? Mark 13 45 caliber guns and 7 twin hydraulically powered turrets. Then you better either run really fast, jump really high, or know how to duck and get low, get flat, right? As we used to say, get small. Here it comes. Better get small. David says you'll get done in for assault in Britain. And David makes a really good point. There was a recent case where a woman was being assaulted. She defended herself with pepper spray. They let the thug out and probably gave him a cash card to go buy some food and a new phone, and she went to jail. And so it is possible, but that goes back to what I said earlier. God gave you the right for self-defense. Man, right now in the UK, there are a lot of unfair rules and unfair laws. Not just the UK, it's all over the world. It's happening to all of us. It's here in the United States, it's in Canada, it's in all of the Western countries, for sure. There's just ridiculous laws that are designed to destroy society for whatever reason. I don't know why they're doing it. And it's not our job to figure it out, right? Our job is to protect ourselves and our family and let him handle it. And he's the only one that can handle it anyway. He's the only one that can give you your freedom, right? And so if you take that approach, then you can do things to protect yourself. And if you do Jesus was stuck to a cross and persecuted for telling the truth. That's the worst you can get. And so every once in a while we're going to go through a period of time where they're going to punish the law-abiding, punish the truth tellers, punish the people who are just trying to live their life in a good, healthy, normal way. And the bad guys are going to reign supreme, and the enemy, the big enemy, is going to get away with whispering evilness all over the world and doing bad stuff. But as Halo Nova says, don't fear it, be aware of it. Fear can definitely disable you. Yeah. Hanuman Bhakti, I remember, I understood you were referring to his comment about getting KO'd. I was just agreeing with you. Wesley Channel asked, do you know who Customato is? I love Customato. Customato created Peekaboo style. He was Mike Tyson's coach. He was the coach of many, many great fighters. Teddy, he's getting old, and just like the rest of us. He knows like this. He was a fighter. He's a great trainer. He worked with Customato. He worked with Tyson for sure. And he's got a school. He's got a great channel. Fran Sands in the UK teaches a lot of the same stuff Customato did, and he's got a great YouTube channel on here too. But I know Customato. I love boxing. Boxing is my favorite sport. Celine says, "Hola, good to see you, Celine. Thank you." Roxanne says, "Best of luck with the channel." I really appreciate that. Kenneth says they must have 0 egress points and have exhibited signs of attempt to flee. After that, it's on and popping, which is true. I mean, if you But if you're 79 years old, and I had a lot of students who are 60s, 70s, 80s, and they still want to be able to defend themselves, and they are worried about this stuff, and they can't move as fast as they used to, and they can't get to that egress point. So maybe there was an egress point, but they have their vision, their peripheral vision has gone, their hearing has gone a little bit. They can't move like they used to, so they're going to be held to a different standard. And if they defend themselves against some punk who's trying to hurt them in a serious way, then again, they're in the right. Whether the law sees it that way or not, they're in the right. Anthony says the only winner of the fight is the guy who doesn't get in one. Yeah, absolutely. If you can avoid it, amen. Don't be there. Tadel Ergogo, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. There's something different. So I think he's referring to Custom Auto. But anyway, you guys have been awesome. I've got to get going to teach a class real quick, and then I'll be back here in a little bit. The next thing that I think we're going to work on is a home invasion, how to defend your home against an invasion. And it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I'm hardening the doors for other people. A lot of people are asking me, because I do a lot of security consulting on the side. I go to people's homes and I bring a drill and about $20 worth of long screws and other pieces of metal from the hardware store. And then we can harden their door so you can't kick it in. Most doors, if they open inward, a lot of doors down here are hurricane doors and they all open outward. Like my garage door comes into the garage right here. That opens outward, so you're not kicking that in. You can still pop it open if you wanted to in a home invasion. If the bad guy's here and he has the intent, he can still get open if he has some tools, like a crowbar. But you can harden the doors at your home, no matter where you live, by just changing some things that come standard with the door. And I'm gonna show you how to do that, I think, in the next video. I'm gonna try to do that one with Tim Miller, because Tim's an expert in security. Tim also has a course coming up that I'm gonna be teaching at, and all of Tim's courses are on at the Okeechobee shooting range, and they involve situations, and he has this computerized training that he taught when he was Secret Service, Homeland Security, that it's shoot, no shoot, or don't shoot, so you can learn how to be more comfortable carrying if you're a concealed carrier, or if you use one in the house to defend your home, whether it's a shotgun or a pistol or a rifle. He has those courses coming up. That's in the links below. If you're here in the States or you want to travel here and get that training, then go to the description, look for Tim Miller, and or just go look at him and see, like, if you're not able to come to the course, see what he's teaching those courses, and then see if you can get it closer to you. Yeah, do something different. Says his door has 5-inch screws, so that's what I do. I go in, mine are between 5 and 7, depending on the material of the door jamb and the neighborhood that we're in and how big the door is. But at least 5 inches, and most of them will come, and I'll show you these in the video, with these little 1 1/4 or 1 3/4 length screw. It's like this big, and that's supposed to keep someone from kicking your door in, and it doesn't. It's very easy. I've kicked in many doors during training and seminars, and Tim will tell you, Tim's kicked in hundreds of doors, having done law enforcement and Secret Service, Homeland Security, and any cop will tell you, doors, you just shove it with your shoulder, let alone have a battering ram. But most bad guys are gonna come up knowing that they can kick your door in. If they get in your house, you're in big trouble. That's the last place you want them, is in your house with you or your family. And so I'm gonna show you how to do that. Bond says, great show. Thanks for being here, Bond, sorry. And you guys have been awesome. Thanks again. Thanks God for the memberships. Thanks for the super chats. And yeah, Halo says, if it's a 10-person home invasion, you better hope your stick is a dynamite or one. Tim Miller will tell you this too. And I've got several friends who all fit in the same category because we've trained together. And if you use one of these to protect your family, or a rifle or a shotgun for home invasion, know your sectors of fire. Know where your kids or your grandkids or your wife or your husband are sleeping in the house. And there was a case a couple years ago here in South Florida where a woman left the house, came home, the husband didn't know she had left. He heard somebody coming in, and he just shot her in a dark hallway. And that's very rare that happens. But you should, if you practice, those types of things won't happen. And so, but most doors or most walls on the interior of a house are paper thin or cardboard thin, and the bullets are going right through them. And then know the difference between like a self-defense round and a full metal jacket. Full metal jacket's going to go through just about anything. A self-defense round might go through something through a person, not go through the person behind them. Full metal jacket's going through 3 people. So, and then a rifle round. So there are things like that that you should take into consideration if you're going to defend your home that way. If they were to come into my home, I have many more than this. I have these, and I also have a lot of heavier caliber, if 10 people come in, then that's a lot. If 10 people come into your house, you've done something wrong, man. But if they do, and you need to defend yourself, I hope you have trained. But train for the worst and pray for the best. Yeah, as Vaughn says, life is precious and worth protecting. Amen to that. That's always the truth. And Muad says he always keeps an eye around his house. Yeah, looking for unusual stuff, going with a gut feeling is so extremely important. I tell women this all the time. It's true for men, but especially women. Women have like a sixth sense. It's more honed than men. When you don't feel right about a person or a situation, get out of there. Don't be around them. Don't try to be polite and say, oh, this guy creeps me out, but I don't want to hurt his feelings. Hurt his feelings. My wife is so good at that. If she feels like someone's creeping her out, she'll turn around and she's like, well, you're too close to me. Get out of my face. Don't get away from my kids. And he might just be trying to get the butter from the butter thing, and she's too close to it. She doesn't care, and I love that about her. I hope we teach all of our women to have a voice and be able to speak up, keep our children and our grandchildren safe, and keep themselves safe. Yeah, do something different. Says he's in an apartment. Yeah, you really have to know your Texas fire in an apartment. You'd hate to hit somebody next door. Chef Bezos asks a silly racist question, and the answer is no, of course not. No, I think you probably haven't been alive long enough if you feel like that. It's because I've been around really creepy people of different races, and it has nothing to do with the color of anybody's skin. And I think you know that. I don't know if you're trolling, but of course not. Either you're a racist and you believe that that's true, or you're racist the other way, where you think that all white people think that people of color are racist or creep them out. But the answer is no. That doesn't even deserve a comment. Yeah, Halo Nova, thank you for that. We'll leave that'll be the last one. The color of the soul that matters. That's all the important. Do something different says he's not racist. He doesn't agree with that. So I agree with do something different. I agree with beautiful flower. And you guys have been something often. Oh, something wrong with the bikes in the background. Are they still back there? Yeah, I think we gotta move it over a little bit. Look at that. That's how you hang up a bike. Hang up the bikes from the ceiling, and then you have room to pull the car in.